YouTube's up. Twitch is up. And oh, oops. Give me a sec. And we're live everywhere. All right, let's start this thing. Greetings, heroes. My name is David. This is Unbowed Productions, and we are talking with Asante. He's over there. I always mess up which side of the screen you're on. How's it going, my dude? How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing well. It's been a great day today. Getting a lot of things started and getting prepped because we're about to be doing some big things.
Cool. And we'll get into that into a second. For anybody who doesn't know, Asante is a hip hop artist, multi award winning, branching out into some other things. And you and I have talked multiple times, or not multiple times, but we talked about your style of hip hop. But before we get into that, I'd like to just get where can everybody listen to you? How can they interact with you? How can they just be a fan?
So you can find me on my socials. I'm pretty active on Instagram, Asante Delui, ASANTE DELUY. And then you can find me on Spotify as Asante, Apple Music as Asante, honestly everywhere as Asante, SoundCloud, King Asante on TikTok. Starting to do more stuff over there. And I've got Asante on Twitter as well. I've got my website is asantemusic.net. There's a lot of ways to find me and hear my music.
Perfect. And we will make sure that when the full video comes out, everything will be down in the description. We'll get to that in a minute. So you hit on TikTok, and we'll get to that in a minute. But before we launch into the social media and the new media sort of stuff, how did you get into music? Like where did it start for you?
Well, I think it always starts with the love of music, the love of listening, the love of getting through my days listening to music and stuff. So that's really where it started. Also, I have to give big shout outs to my mom too, because my mom plays so many different vibes, so many. My mom wasn't like a hip hop person or like a soul person or like she was just a music lover. Like she didn't care. There are no boundaries there. There's no, oh, I don't want to listen to this genre, or even, oh, it's country, I don't want to play. Like she'll play
Cool.
everything. And I feel like that really impacted my style and the reason why I am this type of artist, just because of the freedom of music I've always listened to growing up. But honestly, I wasn't really thinking about, oh, I was gonna get into music. I remember I was in grade 11. No, it might have been grade 12. And then I went to my friend's house and I was trying to make a diss track on my school for whatever reason. Like I can't even tell you. But no, it was a grade 11 actually. And then I went there and I had everything written and stuff, and I know this one artist, so he was at my school, so I was like, okay, but I'll go. I went there, started writing a bit, and then I was like, damn, we're not even like doing my diss track, we're just making a whole song. And then like we recorded the song, and I think I was under like Freeform or something. I actually kind of rate that name still, especially for how my career went. But I started off as Freeform, and then I was just like, I'm not gonna say I was really good on the song, like give all my honesty, like it was not one of my best work piece of art, but I fell in love with the process, and that was like the biggest thing. And from there, I just kept doing it, just because writing music, I didn't expect it to.
Nope. Slight little glitch out here. We lost you there right at the end.
Oh, can you hear me
Yeah,
now
we
though?
got you back. So, you were talking about um how so you got into you did the diss track, you it's what really got you into it, and then you sort of glitched out.
Oh, true. So then I was just saying, like, I fell in love with the process of it, and at the end of the day, like, I feel like music kind of just found me. I wasn't really like searching to be an artist or doing it for like the money or something. Like, I just kind of,
Mhm.
I fell in love with the process and the writing and just everything about making music. Like, not even just like releasing it, but just like making it. And from then on, I just kept doing it, you know?
Cool. And so if you grew up in a household that wasn't just hip hop, how did you fall into the hip hop genre as your primary?
So I think I started as mainly like kind of an R&B artist, but I have a lot of hip hop instrumentation, but I wasn't really rapping. Like, I was straight singing kind of. And I wouldn't even say like I was even the best singer at that point, but that's kind of just what called to me. But then I remember I felt like my verses weren't strong enough, and I feel like I was like someone who always chased a melody, always chased a chorus, and I can write really catchy chorus. Like, everyone would be like, "Yo, this is so catchy," but like my writing, I mean, like verse writing, like I feel like I was kind of rushing it. Like, I wanted my songs to be done. Like, I'd write a crazy hook, and then like I wouldn't have appreciation for writing a verse. You know, like I kind of like, oh, I just want to get into the chorus. So and it showed in my writing. Like, sometimes I'd be listening back to my old music and be like, okay, I just rushed that. Like, I was going somewhere and then I just wanted it to end. But you have to really follow the process. And I was like, what's the best genre I can use to really start showing off my verse writing? Because I was getting to a point, I'm like, okay, I'm getting better writing. I was like, okay, let me go into hip hop a little bit, because hip hop will give me that kind of, because you have to go bar for hip hop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can't get away with just singing about some lovey dovey ish. And then once I got used to that,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I fell in love with verse writing. So then I started writing a lot more verses than I wrote choruses, and then I got into hip hop a lot. But honestly, I'm kind of back in my medium because I wanted to learn from hip hop. I didn't really want to develop into a hip hop artist, but I wanted hip hop to teach me how to write verses. And now I can still write, now I can still spit and do my thing. And I can also sing on people and have those melodies in hand. So just I'm someone who always try to sharpen my I always try to sharpen my knives, you know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
just trying to make sure my arsenal is deep. I want to have a lot of different elements. Like, I even strive in my singing to be a 5 octave singer. Like, that's a crazy goal.
That yeah.
People will just be like, "You're a tenor, I'm a baritone," but I'm someone who wants to be able to sing multiple ranges and find a way to do that because I want to have more tools in my music to express how I
Mm-hmm.
feel. So I will dive into any genre. If there's something I can learn from country, I will write a country song. Just I don't have to release it, but I'll write it. And who knows, I might just give it to somebody. But like, I just want to be able to develop and be like, it's one of those artists that like I'm always kind of making different stuff naturally, because some artists, like, you can hear when someone forces something, like, oh yeah, I have to do different, so then they try to do different. But if you're just naturally different because you have so many skills that you're just using freely in your music and it's in context,
Mm-hmm.
then I just think that's a really dangerous artist, and I'm trying to be a really dangerous artist.
No, I get it, and I appreciate it. So that leads to the question of what is the writing process for you? In that, let's start with how, when you get inspiration, how does that writing process look for you?
So the writing process is, I don't really have a routine, because like I feel like I just have keep doing the same type of thing. So I kind of like searching it up, you know, like sometimes I used to start off chasing choruses and stuff, and I would just write choruses to different songs, and then I write verses later. But then nowadays, I kind of write as I go. Like, I can be talking to you outside somewhere, and then like I might say something and be like, "Oh, that'd be a cool lyric," and I might voice memo it, and I might start a song from that lyric. Or sometimes I'll be listening to music, and I kind of I'm at a weird point in music where I can eliminate artists off of their own songs. So like, I'm listening to a song and I can fully tune the artist out and only hear the
Mm-hmm.
instrumentation. And it's actually kind of bad, because sometimes I'm like, with my girlfriend or with my roommates, and like we're listening to music, and I'm fully like writing music, freestyling over a song when somebody else is like singing. So, but the thing is, sometimes they rate it, and they'll be like, "Yo, I like what you're
Hmm.
doing," because they got used to me now. But and then I do that, and I voice memo it, and then I'm gonna make a whole instrumentation around what I just made. Or and then sometimes I'm just going about my days and I'm like, yo, let me just try to do some poetry and switch up my rhyme scheme patterns. So I'll just do some of those. And then like I'll just start my song off with that. So like I find I try to be more prepared. Like when I'm by myself, I be more free and I always search for new. But when I'm in a writing session, I always kind of use like kind of want to start from somewhere. Unless like because it depends on what kind of artist I work with. Like if I'm working in like a hip hop, like it's kind of just bar for
Hmm.
bar, right? But like if I'm working with like I don't know, so it's probably an artist I'm closer with, and then we talk about the song first, then I'll make it from scratch and try to find a new melody and find something. But like I always try to be like I try to be prepared, but I'm always trying to write all the
Hmm.
time because I just want to be in that state.
And before we hit on to the second part of the question that I wanted to ask, you said something in there, which is you talked about switching up your rhyming schemes and stuff like that. Particularly with it doesn't matter rhyming schemes and things like that, whether or not it's hip hop or pop, whatever you want to say. Everything's got a rhyming scheme. Everything's got a flow. How there is a perception that things like hip hop or whatever, it's just the natural talent and how you write and how you do. But how important is it to you to understand different rhyming schemes, different methods, different and how have you studied that, added it to your weaponry?
Well, it all started when it was like last spring when I was in line for something. And like I'm always analyzing my music, analyzing my sound, and I'm someone like cuts out my old habits. So if I'm working on a song, for example, and I'm writing, I'm always gonna go to these similar melodies, my familiar melodies, but I never write on those. Like I kind of garbage them out. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm just saying them, getting them out of my system. So I'm putting them in the trash. So I do that on most things. Like when I feel like I'm doing something I've already done, I'm gonna ride the wave because that's what my heart's saying right now. But I'm not gonna write it or I'm not gonna like use it. So now I wait for new melodies. But then I learned I was in line one time and I was like, why not just study? So then I started like start studying poetry. I downloaded some poetry apps and then I got really like addicted. So then I started to like read a lot more poetry, read poems of the day. I started to study different rhyme schemes, even not, but not even just not even like the basic ones, like the ABAB or like ABBA or like the AAAA. I'm just like studying like the AXBC and stuff like that because I wanted to know all the deep like melodies. So then, even with my roommate at the time, I think you met him, Jason
Mm-hmm.
Moment. So what we just freestyle for fun, and I'll be like, yo, okay, when we freestyle, you have to do different rhyme schemes. So I'll be like, yo, let's freestyle ABBA then AXXA. And then we'll both be like obviously we'll be fumbling at the beginning, but then sometimes we get into a flow of it. So then I realized from doing that rhyme schemes actually dictate your flow as well. Like if I'm saying the same rhyme scheme like throughout my whole song, it's really hard to switch up my flow. But if I'm switching up rhyme scheme, that's how I can do something different. So usually when people say like, "Oh, you're doing the same thing," like I can study it off of even my rhyme scheme. So that's how I learned to even stay different and like do like just kind of be different. Cause I don't know, like I'm a real geek about music. You know, like
Good.
I watch documentaries with like a notepad in front of me because people always give me some diamonds in the rough while they're talking. So I'm always writing stuff down. I'm always taking notes. And I'm always in my random time, big yo, let me study music theory right now. Or let me just study rhyme schemes right now. Like I'll delete in a line for a job fair, all the way in the back of the line. I was like, yo, this is a long line. What am I gonna do? I said, you know what? Let me just study rhyme schemes.
Mm-hmm.
And like so these I have these outbursts of really wanting to learn, and then I just like really ride those waves as long as I can, and then just start making. I'm trying to always evolve, you know. Like I've always had people say to me, "Yo, this your next track is always better than the last one," and then I kind of got addicted to it, and I realized that like if I just like write without any
Mm-hmm.
purpose, then I'm not getting better. But if I'm taking breaks in between writing to actually learn and like learn different things that I can use in my music, even things I won't add, but like just knowing and being able to understand that side of music and like really be technical
Hmm.
about it, I feel like I can just evolve because my goal is to be a Mount Rushmore artist. Like I'm not trying to be like just like I'm a rich artist, or I don't want to be just getting the bag off of music. Like I want to be able to end my career and people be like, yo, like I want to be in like the Drake, Kanye, all those big talks. And I know like I want to honestly I want to go further than that. If you want my honesty, I want to like surpass these artists who I look up to, even the big ones. Michael Jackson is my idol, but I'm trying to go far. And the thing is, I know it might not look the same because of eras changing and like being big is different forms. Like you can't compare like Michael Jackson's greatness to Drake's greatness because people won't be fainting at Drake concerts because you have access to Drake all the
Hmm.
time. You go on your phone, you can see a picture of Drake. Like nobody's gonna be fainting at his concerts because like he's accessible. It's the same thing with like Michael Jordan versus LeBron. You know,
Hmm.
like these people are more accessible, we get too used to them, we get too desensitized. But imagine like you can only get a Michael Jackson CD. You have to really buy. You have to really invest in that. Then you can listen to it. You invested real money that you could have spent on food and stuff on this one CD, this one album. Listening to it. This person is not reachable. Maybe you go into a magazine and you see him. Oh, Michael Jackson. You be going on. Oh, maybe you might be seeing here posters and stuff. And then you see him live, and it's like, yo, this person who like I invested into, like I'm seeing him in real life. Like, of course you're gonna faint at his concerts, you know. So like I want to be in my era, however it's gonna look, a Mount Rushmore artist where people can say, "Yo, I can." They can talk to about Asante, they can talk about Michael Jackson, and they'll be like, "Yo, these artists did something in their time."
Hmm.
So the only way for me to do that, especially nowadays, it's harder because I have to have multiple skills. I can't just be a great artist. I have to be a great businessman.
Hmm.
Like that's why I was talking to you before about not dropping, but I won't get into that.
We'll get into that in a minute. We'll get into that in a
We'll
minute.
get into that. But yeah, so I'm just always studying. I'm just a geek, you know, but it's gonna take me far.
And yeah, and I don't understand anybody. I don't think I've ever met anybody in any particular industry, particularly in the arts, who's not a geek about what they do, about the music that they listen to, the music that they want to do, crafting their skills. Now, some people think, or I guess I should reframe that in that it's the people who go far are the geeks, the ones who are so passionate about this, who can talk for days about chord progression or whatever. So it's never a bad thing, and that passion is what takes people forward and takes you forward, obviously. The next question I have, sort of in this vein, is when you're writing and when you've completed or partially completed to the point where you want to do something with it, a track. How do you decide what you go forward with and what you don't?
You know, I'm a weird one. I'm different because I think there's a lot of artists who write way more than me because I'm always prepared. You know, I always work on melodies all the time. I'm always writing lyrics all the time. I'm not always writing full songs
Mhm.
because I'm doing a lot of stuff in between to make my next song better. So most times I'm releasing and dropping unless I'm doing strategic training arcs. So I'll be like, yo, so this week I'm gonna make a song every single day. And it's not that I necessarily drop those songs. I'm just kind of just develop. So it's always purposeful. But when I feel like when I'm writing a song, I think it's good enough to drop.
Okay.
If you want my honesty, just because I take that time, because I feel like I don't know if I wrote like let's say 10 songs, like imagine I had like 100, 200, 300 songs, that'd be my enemy. Like that'd be my straight enemy. Like how do I even go from there? And I feel like a lot of artists who like drop like that,
Hmm.
that's when their fans will be like, "Oh no, I like nah 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 nah." Like they're kind of inconsistent. They'll be like, "Oh, this artist isn't consistent
Hmm.
enough." But I feel like that's because like imagine I'm going through my life, and today I make a song, and I'm like, "Okay, bet this is a good song." But then I have a song from like 3 years ago, and I'm like, oh shoot, like I know some of my homies rated this song, so you know what? I'll drop this song. But that song was from like that was from such a long time ago,
Mhm.
you know, and it's like they can almost seem like not really a digression because it's a different time, but some in terms of production, there's so many things that they've improved
Mhm.
on. So I feel like they kind of go back and forth between like different eras of music, and then your audience won't really understand you. Like imagine I'm releasing music when I'm like doing something when I'm in this time, and then I'm up and I have a different lifestyle, and it's like I keep releasing two different styles. People won't even understand me. My fans won't understand
Mhm.
me, you know, like I'm trying to really be in the moment of my music, but and when I write something, like I'm taking my time to make it a banger. Like I'm not just like writing, let me just write a song. Like if when I'm really like here be like, yo, it's time to write on this, like I'm making it a banger. Like multiple writing, multiple revision sessions, multiple going back. I'm not gonna fall in love with anything, I'll take anything out,
Mhm.
and then go into working with people with production, sending it out to people who I know could add a lot of spice into it, decide which ones, which elements I want, take it down. Like it's like deep. Like my songwriting like process, really making a full song is not just sporadic really anymore. Like it's like I'm making a banger, and it's gonna be over multiple days. Because this is gonna be a song I'm gonna drop. This is gonna be my next best song. I'm always aiming to make my next best song, and I'm gonna put in the time to make it.
So you hit on something. I have my pen in my hand. um, so like it's not to throw shade on anybody, but when you wander around things like Bandcamp and stuff, you see people that have been on Bandcamp for like 5 years and have dropped 39 albums, and I'm just like, how? Whereas like the process that I've always like even the process of making a single track doesn't happen over a day. It happens over weeks and months even. And
Mm-hmm.
I guess for you, you touched on it with Michael Jackson just a little bit, but it's the concept of an album versus we're now in the new media, whatever you want, Spotify, YouTube era, where people don't have to drop full albums anymore, where you can just drop the single as it hits. Which
Mm-hmm.
do you gravitate towards, and do you like, where do you think you feel on album versus album drops versus full singles, but no, single drop versus full albums?
Well, personally, I think like if you're an independent artist, you should only be dropping EPs regardless. Like you have to really accept that you're not a big artist. And I feel like a lot of artists don't want to accept it. They want to always be like, I'm starting the biggest artist. But sometimes you got to humble yourself out, because it's not just, you could be skillful and you could be skilled, a lot more skilled than a lot of artists, but you're not as big as these people. So these people are going to have more people's attention. They're going to have more people's time.
Mhm.
Like if I'm at my state and I'm dropping a 20 song project, like you I would be lucky for people to listen to 3 songs.
Mhm.
Like you have to also like in a sense respect people's time, because you're not important in their life. Like you're not. I'm not at that point where everybody's hanging me on their walls, and like everyone be like, yo, like if Drake drops a project, they're going front to back. They're staying up to make sure they hear
Mhm.
it. But like, if I'm dropping a project on the same, like I don't even drop on Fridays anymore because the big artist drops. Like, if Drake drops and I drop, people are listening to Drake, and even if my boys do that, I'm not gonna diss them or anything, because yo, Drake just dropped, So I kind of humble myself in that sense, but
You're hitting stuff, and I just got to write it down where we're going.
yeah, nah, I'm not really like,
No, it's
I'm even like kind of stop being like sporadic, kind of even with dropping music.
so you hit on something, and I'd love to just pick your brain about it a little bit. You want to be that level of artist, that Drake level, that Michael Jackson, whoever it is, but even mid-level artists dropping on Friday and stuff, as a new artist, as an independent artist, somebody without that major push behind it, you're competing with them if you try and drop on Friday or whenever, and you've got to be aware of when they drop. It's the how. What do you think about that competition and that initial humbleness and getting your voice out to those people. Does that make sense?
Like I just think like you have to be able to look at your career as a business, like as like a product. Like I kind of stopped thinking about my music as just music, and that's why I even touching on before that like I don't even want to drop this year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe at the end of the year, who knows? But like my plan was not even to, and then only really start next year because like I don't want to waste my songs. Like I feel like I'm just wasting so much music because I just drop because I want to drop
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like the song is good and it's like I don't like doing that anymore. Like I want to have a year where I can just have all my songs January 1st put sent to all DSPs.
Mm-hmm.
My whole year already set. That will give me time to only I don't have to focus on creating music. I can focus on creating content. I can focus on my performing. And like even I performed with Unbowed like was it a month ago I
A
think
little
or
bit more than
something.
that, but yeah, yeah.
A little bit more than that. And if you you see me there, and if you come to my show, if you come to my show today, I'm not performing today, but I'm just
Mm-hmm.
saying, you'll be like, this is an entirely different artist because I'm just working really hard. And the thing is, like music, having to create music is a burden in a sense
Mm-hmm.
because there's so many things from the business level that you have to do. Like I want to be able to have marketing strategies. Like I'll be able to push my songs into certain countries and stuff. See, and like let's say I put $5 into like 5 different countries, 5 different big cities, and then I see what gets the most engagement, and then I can have proper marketing plans. Like okay, this actually did really well here. What if I just put $100 in this city on the drop? And then
Mm-hmm.
when I drop it, I have a music video already prepped dropping with the song, which is huge. So then people have visuals to go with my music. And then I'm gonna look like I'm a big artist. I'm gonna look like I'm signed. People are gonna be like, yo, Asante, are you signed now? And like I wanna have that perception. I wanna turn myself and I think I can turn my music into a business so easily. Like so easy. Like drop like I'm a big artist. Like not just drop like oh this one two oh yeah here's a song yeah this is cool like do you like it yeah oh now I have to push it to everybody last minute then a week has passed and like oh shoot now I have to do all these other things. It's like no, like I want when a song drops I want to be able to celebrate
Mm-hmm.
and be like yo I just dropped my dang song and then automatically because I had everything already done boom stuff is just going, it's already in the system, it's just dropping promoting my track and then I'm focusing on my performing because I'm going to have to go perform the song too. And then I just keep doing that for each song, keep getting the marketing up. Then my songs will actually get traction and I can actually grow a fan base, get more shows, and just start being a bigger artist and really pop off. Like I think 2023 is going to be a huge year for me just because of my mindset change. And that's why I always tell artists go to workshops, go to artist business workshops. Canadian Music Incubator does stuff all in so many different cities, travels and tells people, puts people on music game. Search up when Canadian Music Incubator is coming to your city and go. Spotify for Artists almost every single month has like virtual like conferences, that free conferences. You just go in, you can listen, just get game. Like there's so many, it's so easy to get game nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy. You pay attention to Toronto. You could go to a networking event. I went to a networking event like on Tuesday, and I literally I'm in London, and I worked from 5 to like 5 p.m. I got out of London like 6. Got there at 8. Did my networking, and then I left Toronto at 1 a.m. to go back to London to get to work in the morning. But like this stuff is the stuff you got to do, because this is how you really get out there. So like I don't want to be stressing about music, about creating music, because there's so much to do in a year that like music has to be the last of my worries. Like I need to just be working my performing, working on my voice. I got a vocal coach, so I've been working with a vocal coach to really up my vocals and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. Especially because I realize I'm a singer, so by the end of the year, like 2023, I want to be able to be confidently being like I'm a singer. That's really my goal. So that's what I'm really working towards. But if I really just work on my performing, because performing art is coming back. It's gonna be really huge. It's because pandemic, everybody was so sad. Now people just want to go all do different things. So people want live music. So you have to come out, you have to be killing it if you want to get a lot of gigs. So there's just so many things to focus on. So
Hmm.
I'm just right now I'm in my writing period, and I'm really trying to create, working with a lot of different producers. And then 2023, just straight destruction year, straight business and big drops, and I'm gonna look like I'm signed.
Well, and it is interesting you mentioned that because what you're talking about is essentially the old school formula, the old record formula that an artist would head into the studio, record their stuff, you know, the mastering, everything that happens there, and then they prepare for the tour, for the promotion, for the getting it out there. And you know, if we're talking in the 80s and 90s, then you got the music video pushes and traveling around to all the media companies and doing the interviews and stuff like that. So you touched on something really interesting, and I want to get into it because I think this is important for new artists, because I think in the YouTube, TikTok era, there's this feeling of if you build it, they will come. You know, that if you just put your music out there into the ether, you're going to develop a fan base in everything. And that's sort of the exact opposite of what you were just saying. So what do you think about that?
Like, so there's one thing I learned recently, and it wasn't even something that someone told me, but I just deep things a lot, right? So I kind of theorized this, and I think it's facts. So you dropping your music won't get you any fans. Even if you drop a song and you get 2 million streams, you don't. I promise you right now, most of those, like 99% of those, will not result in the
Mm-hmm.
fans. 1% of those will result in the fans because they're fans of the song. They're like, this is a crazy song. It's in their playlist. They're not following you though. They're not looking out to see where your shows are so they can see you live. They're not buying your merch. They rate your song. They get you streamed. They give you those numbers. I think the two ways to get fans is social media is a big way,
Mm-hmm.
but social media is also a bit tougher nowadays because everybody's pushing for it. But you just got to be consistent, and then you can really do some
Mm-hmm.
damage. But the biggest way to get fans is performing.
Mm-hmm.
You're performing your shows is how people are gonna really be like, yo, this guy is crazy. Like that's how you're gonna get fans. That's why like I'm predicting that performing artists coming back
Mm-hmm.
for real. People are gonna start really be judging their artists on their shows nowadays because not everybody's killing it show wise, and like you're not gonna be a star if you're not killing your shows. Like you want people to come out and be like, yo, this was crazy. Like someone I look up to, not even on a music sense, on a performing sense, is Travis Scott. Because people to this day who I know, they'll say, I went to Astroworld and it was the best day of my life. Like that's having that on somebody. Imagine somebody goes to your event and say that was the best day of my
Mm-hmm.
life. Having that effect on somebody, that's how you gain a fan right there. That's how people are gonna be like, yo, I'm gonna buy anything up, anything you need to help you out. I'm gonna make sure you go up. That's how even an artist like Kendrick blew up because Kendrick's a weird artist in my sense. Well, I think because like Kendrick has cult followers who got him to the top. You
Mm-hmm.
know, like people who like if you said anything about Kendrick, that people would like fight you over it, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And because he had that type of that aggressive audience, where it's like they're like, yo, don't talk about Kendrick. Kendrick will beat your favorite rapper any day of the week. Kendrick just got respected in the
Mm-hmm.
game. He would just get goaded because Drake did like had to do it the hard way. You know what I mean? Make the hit songs, make the hit singles, and Kendrick makes hits. That's the thing. Kendrick makes hits. But if you talk down on Kendrick in the wrong room, you can lose your life. You
Yeah.
know, like it's deep, and like that's from him really having an impact on people's lives. Like he told people stories and they felt connected to him. Like I want to be able to have that presence. People go to see Kendrick shows, they're like, yo, this is my guy. Like they're losing their mind. Like his presence on social media too, people just lose their mind. And now he's at a point in his career where he doesn't have to do all that stuff
Mm-hmm.
because he just has those fans.
So, but building up to those fans, getting to that point, and we're in this mixed era because there still is a lot of hesitancy to go to live concerts for some people. But we're in this era where you can do things like YouTubing and streaming the concerts. Where do you feel about that and building not just from an in person, but also through, as you said, social media? And yeah, more people are trying to do it that way, but my personal opinion is that not everybody's doing it the right way.
Yeah, I feel like you can't really do it unless you're big. Like in my opinion, like I don't think it's a sustainable way for smaller brands to really go anywhere because people's attention spans are just lower.
Mm-hmm.
Like someone like Tory Lanez like broke some live streaming record in the pandemic, but also that was pandemic times
Mm-hmm.
too, and people were forced to be inside. But like, because he got an artist, he captured an artist, but people aren't gonna stay on these lives and like they going about their lives, going about their days, you know. And then you think about it, like you need data for that. So a lot of people is not gonna be going out their house using their data, but rack up the data bill to watch smaller brands. It's just not what people do. So I think in a for a smaller brand, it's not sustainable. For bigger brands, you can, but I think now that we're outside of the pandemic, it kind of we're getting over that. I feel like we're getting right back to live. Like people don't want to really see things. I don't think people will really stay for it.
Okay, but that brings up the sort of other problem, and not really a problem, but it's something that I noticed about you when you were doing the show and seeing you subsequently is your interaction with the fans from or the audience from the stage and turning them into fans. You know, we I think we've all seen artists who just sort of sit up there and do their music and that's about it. How how do you craft or how do you that craft that stage persona? You know, as opposed to, you know, just Asante, the dude that I'm sitting here talking with, as opposed to Asante, the larger than life persona on the stage.
Well, I think it's experience, but I also do think like as I said, like I was a bit of a geek, so I watched this thing called Rhythm and Flows,
Mm-hmm.
right? And it's like it's essentially the hip hop American Idol. Like Cardi B runs it, Ti's on it, Chance the Rapper. They're all three judges,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like it's in the hip hop scene. So that's why it was really unique. And the thing is, they had a lot of gems. Like I feel like you really have to humble yourself in life to improve. And I'd be watching these artists, like some of them will be flubbing up and stuff like that, and a lot of people just laugh or be like, "Oh, this guy sucks" or something like that. But like I was like trying to deep why, and then the judges would be like, "Yo, you work on this, that," and I kind of put myself in his shoes and see like, "Oh shit, like I shouldn't be upset that like I shouldn't be like laughing at him because he messed up because I could fully do that and it's so realistic. It's such a realistic mistake that you can make as an artist. So I see a lot of people like flubbing up in that show and I was like, damn, I actually learned a lot. So I watched it again. Like, damn, I learned a lot. I watched it again. And I'm like, damn, because I was just showing people. And I was like, yo, watch this show. So I watched it through with them. And then the fifth time I was like, yo, let me get my notepad. And then like I've like actually a whole notepad that I bought, like one of those 80 pages one. And I low-key filled the whole thing up on rhythm and flow stuff. Just because there were so many gems and I started like writing a little bit of things in between.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that really turned me to like a lot better of a performer because I could visualize what a good show looked like and like visualize the aspects. And then also me going to a lot of shows, like I'll be watching people perform and I analyze them, you know, like I watch their mic movement. I watch every single step they take, every single word they say, every single like action they do. I really pay attention to their performances. Like no matter how big the artist, like I go to smaller shows and I'm still like learning so much. Just because like people are different and you might not always rate what people do, but you can learn from it and apply it in your own manner.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always just learning and I'm just like putting myself in positions to learn. So I'm forcing myself to be active and forcing myself to be out there and just like keep taking mental notes.
So, two last things I want to touch on while I've got the chance. The first one is you're talking about listening to people, understanding what they're doing and why they're doing. But a lot of people, if you talk to them about that, they're sort of afraid that it'll turn into mimicry. So how do you, and I think this is a learning from you. There's going to be a bunch of people doing exactly what you were doing, and I'm going to, you know, so how have you managed to learn from and understand what a person's doing while maintaining your own individuality and not just mimicking other people.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's like two sides of the spectrum. There's like mimicking someone and then trying to be original. But both of them aren't, it's not good to be either. Because like I feel like I really promoted authenticity in the beginning of my career and I really stuck
Mm-hmm.
to it. Where like I'm gonna be me in this music game. I won't really let myself be influenced. So I feel like I came in a bit more fortunate because people come into music big. Oh, I love Travis Scott's music, so I want to. He made me want to get into music. Like a lot of people have different artists. Like Michael Jackson, is my idol, but Michael Jackson didn't make me want to get into music. I kind of came into the game like there's not enough songs for me, so let me just start making some songs.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like I didn't really have influences. I was just like making my own music. Like I wasn't even thinking about other artists and stuff. So I kind of came in with the mindset of just I'm gonna do me regardless of what everybody else is doing. And then I learned that I can learn from other people. So then I kind of hear what other people do, see what other people do, and it's like rather than doing what they do, I'll just do me on what they do, if that makes sense. So if I see that someone's on like a crazy beat and they have a flow that inspires me, some people would cling to their flow and try to say just change up the words on their flow. But I'll just add myself onto the song and just do me on their song because they inspired me in that moment. If I see someone do something cool on stage and I saw that it really impacted somebody, I'll be like, oh, cool, that's something I could do that too. But I do it in my way because I know I can't do it like them. So I'm just always, I just put myself in their situation, I find.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, rather than me doing what they're doing, I'm learning from them because I'll put myself in that situation. Because you almost have to set yourself up in life, you
Mm-hmm.
know? In order to make the right song, you have to meet the right person. In order for you to have a really killer show, you have to know what a killer show looks like you like you can't come into it blind. Like you have to have education too, in a sense, because you want to know what's good, what works, what doesn't work, and you can learn a lot about what doesn't work from other people, and you see what works, then you put yourself in the situation that they're in, and then you're just forcing yourself to do you, but you're in their situation.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're 100% right, and it's a fine line, and you have to find it for yourself. Everybody has to find it yourself, but it's the difference between copying, imitating, aping somebody else, and standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
You know, once you figure out that you don't have to reinvent the wheel, you can learn from the successes of others without just straight out copying them. It becomes a very empowering thing.
Mm-hmm.
And and I, I sort of had some minor questions, but I think I want to stop there. Not because I'm not enjoying the conversation, not because I don't think, but I think that that is a great place to stop, and we can move forward from there if that's okay with you.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll stop there, and I'm just going to say it this way: like Unbowed Productions has worked with you before. I think that a lot of what you just said here is incredibly important for those who are coming through and coming in. And Unbowed Productions continue to work with you, and I am so looking forward to seeing where you're going.
Thank you.
So, do you have anything else you want to say before
Um.
as I put you on the
Well,
spot?
I want to say like I just appreciate your time for real. I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to do this, and it was for me. It was a great interview, and I'm very excited to see our futures. Like I know we're definitely gonna be connecting a lot, so I'm just very grateful. I want everybody here. I hope I've said something that can help you move forward. If it's just a bunch of rubbish, it's just a bunch of rubbish. But I'll stand by everything I say, and I appreciate everybody who really takes in my word because I just try to help out and I just let people know what I'm thinking, you know?
Hmm. Um, so I don't normally do stuff like this, and this won't make it into the edit, but keep an eye on Asante. He is doing amazing things, and just watching him grow over the last 2-3 months, this is going to go into some incredible places, and I am so looking forward to it. And I really want to thank you for taking the time.
Of course,
All right,
always.
we're gonna